All right, let's talk Jordan Love pulling off the victory against the Cincinnati Bengals. Listen, a game that I think multiple things can be true, right? If you're a Packers fan, I think you're going to say, "Hey, it's hard to win games in the NFL. Getting a double-digit win is good, but also this is a team you're expected to win by a lot more than what ended up happening. They were 14.5-point favorites. So we'll talk about, talk about it all. When we talk about Jordan Love, I've been very impressed with him this season. I was kind of someone who was lower on him than a lot of other people were entering this year. But I think he's done a great job, and like a big part of it has been plays like this. So it's a man coverage concept that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be in right here. Love is going to take the snap. It's only a 3-man rush, actually, so Love is able to get outside the pocket, but because of the 3-man rush, you have a player over the middle who is, prepared for this. 3rd and 7, all you have to do is make a tackle, and you're getting the Packers stopped right here. But watch Love just juke him out and picks up the first down on that play. Again, him using his legs is the real part of his game, and I think that you see on a play like that, 3rd and 7, getting the first down, these are important plays that he can pull off for the Packers. That's not Matt LaFleur, right? Matt LaFleur is getting a lot of credit. He deserves a lot of credit, but also like Love can make plays too. We can go to the negatives. There's, a couple negatives. This was the biggest one. So first, it's actually going to start off as a positive. You see multiple Cincinnati players pushing Love back. Watch as Love is going to get around that. He looks down the field on 3rd and 5, kind of just trying to do a bit too much here. So this was set up due to the good play by Love. But at this point, you see there's just no window. There's a Cincinnati player right over where Love wants to go up the ball. It's one of those throw the ball away and either go for it on 4th or take the 3 points. Instead, it gets batted up and intercepted. Definitely a bad break with how that got intercepted, but ultimately it was a bad decision to begin with. So it still is a fair critique of the play, even if the actual way it got intercepted was a bit fluky. So again, this is just part of who Love is. He's going to try and make plays. It's going to work out more than it's going to fail, but there are times when it's going to fail, and this was one of them. Heading over to a play like this. So this was another negative, although a much more understandable one, but there were just a couple times when it felt like the Packers just kind of missed on some plays that they had, and it's hard to really blame anybody, but just kind of unfortunate plays. So you see the route on the screen. It is going to get open. There's some setup routes that are going to help it get open, but this route is going to get open. Love takes a snap, and he actually starts off looking towards his left, ultimately now wants to get over there, and I'm assuming he sees this is open right at this point. What was towards his left now looks open. It wasn't open when he was looking there. So had Love had a little bit more time, I think he makes this throw and they pick up a big completion. But right now is when pressure is coming, and this is really where pressure matters. In the NFL, you're usually going to have time to get to your first read. Offensive linemen are good enough to block. Even if they're not a great offensive lineman, they're good enough to block for the first read. But it's that second read that sometimes you have time for, sometimes you don't have time for. It depends on how the blocking is. Here, Bengals able to generate pressure. Love ultimately is going to flip this one, does what he can, and ends up, would have been better if he just threw it into the dirt, as it turns out. They lose yards on that play, have to punt it away. Again, opportunities that I don't want to say like it was anyone's fault, really. We can blame the blocking if you want to. I kind of just think it was like one of those plays that almost worked and didn't. But because of that, maybe you weren't able to have the offensive explosion that you would hope for. But this 2-play sequence a little bit later on in the game perfectly encapsulates the Jordan Love experience, I feel like. Like I said, he is someone, when you watch him for 60 minutes, he is not going to play perfect every snap. He's just not. This play was a weird one. Watch him take the snap, and usually I assume a play like this is a miscommunication. I don't know what he could have thought was happening. I guess maybe he thought this tight end was going to go further down the field. That's probably it. I can't imagine he just missed one by that much. Love has had inaccuracy issues over his career. I think this was just a communication thing. So, okay, you have kind of an ugly-looking play there, but then look at how they bounce back. So this is a 3rd down and 10. You have a one-on-one matchup on the outside. This is Matthew Golden, who they drafted in the 1st round, to win in a situation like this. Be a number 1 receiver, win on the outside in a one-on-one matchup. Love takes a snap. Again, 3rd and 10. If you don't convert here, you're giving the ball back to Cincinnati. You see right here, is there a window? Technically, you can look at it and say yes if you make a perfect throw to the completion, but this is not that open. This is just, the scheme-wise, you want to throw a go route against the cover 1-man play. But watch this throw. Look, that's ridiculous. Like, that's just a ridiculous throw by Jordan Love, and it feels like he makes these types of plays consistently. So you'll deal with the occasional misthrow, the occasional throwing into traffic, because you're getting this out of it. I mean, again, you can count the quarterbacks that can make that type of throw on one hand, and the fact that he does it consistently as well is what works. Also, heading over here, just the simple stuff. I think he does a very good job of, this is Romeo Doubs, who's been a really nice receiver for the Packers, having a good season. You see him here running just a quick slant route over the middle. Watch as when Love takes the snap. Really well ran route by Doubs. There's a bit of a window, and for Love, what do you want to do? Get him the ball quickly. As you see, maybe a touch high, but it's okay because you got it there quickly. Doubs is able to fall forward, pick up a first down. Simple stuff, nothing too fancy, but you know what? You got to be able to do the simple stuff, and Love certainly can. And then also, late in the game, the Bengals offense kind of woke up in the fourth quarter, and so the Packers had to keep driving. You see here, it's a 3rd and 2, and you see how the Bengals are set. They're not going to let you just run up the middle for quarterback sneak or a halfback dive or anything like that. Instead, you see Love is going to run a play action, and it's supposed to be a passing play. But right here, nothing's open down the field, and if Love wants to scramble, there are 3 Bengals players ready to swarm him. However, no worries, he's able to get around all 3 of them. A 4th guy got in the mix, and it was the 5th guy who tackled him. It's a great play by Love to, again, keep the drive alive. They probably either kick a long field goal or go for it in that situation, but you don't want to put yourself in that situation. Get the first down. That is exactly what Love was able to do. And then also this play, kind of the key one. So, Packers ultimately scored a touchdown on that last drive, but then the Cincinnati Bengals with a great Jamar Chase play, get a touchdown and the 2-point conversion. So, I'm sure if you're a Packers fan, you're thinking, is this going to happen again? Are we going to punt the ball back to Joe Flacco? Jamar Chase is going to make an incredible catch, get a touchdown, and we're going to lose to Joe Flacco again when we should have easily beaten them. 3rd down and 9, too. They need a play. Love takes the snap. The containment is given up, and right here you see Love. He's going to have to throw off balance. But again, if you're a Packers fan, you're not even nervous seeing him throw off balance. You know he can do this. Watch him be able to find a Matthew Golden who does, win his matchup pretty significantly once he had time because Love was able to get outside the pocket. So, still good play by Golden, good play by Love, and well blocked by the Packers. So, yeah, again, it was a really good game by Jordan Love. I know you want the superstar numbers when you're going up against a team like the Bengals, and honestly, his numbers still were really good. He was basically 10 yards per attempt. It was 259 yards on 26 attempts. There were 2 rushing touchdowns in there, which always makes the passer rating look a little worse when they're rushing touchdowns instead of passing ones, but ultimately, Love played really well. This is exactly what you want. And we can say, well, they played down to their competition. But to me, their quarterback is playing what you were hoping the quarterback would play like entering this year. And that's way more optimistic than, maybe giving up more points than you'd like to Joe Flacco. That's just kind of how I view it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.